Today we are making chicken wings, easily one of my favorite tailgate foods, and honestly one of my favorite and most fun things to cook, and the reason is because there is so much variety. So much you can do with a chicken wing, so many different flavors you can bring to it, and we're doing it with smoke, some Texas hat hanger by Rub City, that's gonna be our salt and pepper base. And then we're gonna spice it up a little bit with Woodfire and Whiskey's Jalapeño Ranch. With these chicken wings, we are doing a straight up indirect cook, straight 2-zone cooking, so that we can smoke them indirect, and then at the very end, we're gonna flip them over onto direct heat to get that beautiful crunch, that beautiful crust that you have to have when you're eating a chicken wing. No one wants rubbery skin on a chicken wing. All right, single layer on the cutting board. Just lay these out. They're gonna be wet, they're gonna be slippery. We're gonna pat these dry. There is no reason to wash chicken wings, despite of the controversy that you see all over online. There's nothing in these chicken wings that aren't gonna be cooked off and taken care of by cooking over high heat. We're simply gonna pat them dry. There might be the occasional trim, all right? So perfect example right here. Out of all these wings, this might be the only one that I have to do it to, but you see how it just has all that extra skin. We're gonna lop that off, no problem, simple. We're just gonna go ahead and pat dry. Again, you can see I have a working hand, my knife, my seasonings, as well as a hand that I'm using for prep that's gloved. You don't need a ton of paper towels. My wife always yells at me because I use too many paper towels when I'm prepping my meat at home. But just give them a flip. Go ahead and get these as dry as you can, and then we're gonna go ahead and season. Once we're all dry, I can take a look. We recall one piece that kind of had some extra skin here. We're gonna go ahead and just slice that off, put that to the side. We're gonna go ahead first with our Texas hat hanger. Nice even layer, and again, Texas hat hanger, this is gonna be great because of that salt and pepper base for these chicken wings, and then we're gonna follow it up with our Woodfire and Whiskey Jalapeño Ranch. The most fun part about chicken wings is you can really add any flavor profile you want to. So versatile, just a super easy recipe regardless of what flavors you're adding. The color already from this Jalapeño Ranch is gonna kick these wings up to another level. So I'll do both sides here with the Texas hat hanger, Jalapeño Ranch. Make sure that we coat them on all sides. And as you flip them, there's some of that excess seasoning that's already on the board, so they're just gonna continue to kind of incorporate, really get it all together. We are gonna finish with some crispy skin, smoked chicken wings with this salt, pepper base, Jalapeño Ranch that are gonna seriously blow your balls off. We're gonna let the seasoning here do its job, adhere, melt into that fatty skin for about 5 minutes. In the meantime, we're gonna get that S&S grill. We're gonna set up the slow and sear accessory, and then we'll be ready to put these wings on. We're gonna start by firing up our chimney. We're gonna use about 3/4 of charcoal. We're gonna light it up right in our kettle. What I really like about this cook is we're gonna go ahead and incorporate our S&S slow and sear. This is an insert, it's additional. You don't need it, but let's make your life easier. This is gonna do it. It has a reservoir for the charcoal. So that's where we're gonna dump our lit charcoals. It's gonna be our direct cooking side, 1 zone of our 2-zone cook. It also has a water reservoir. What I like about this, I always use it. I fill it with about a bottle of water. It's gonna do a couple things. If you use something other than water, it could potentially help create a little bit of flavor, but it's also going to help regulate our temperature. By adding water or a water pan to your smoker, you're helping regulate temperature. So that's what this water is going to do. It's going to bubble. It's going to create steam. It's going to keep our chicken wings moist. So the slow and sear method is absolutely incredible, and I'm all about making life easier and creating a better product, and that's what the S&S slow and sear will do. Very easily fits directly into one side of our kettle, and you're set. Once our charcoal is finished and glowing and fired up, we simply dump it into the slow and sear, and we're ready to go. We'll put the lid on, vents open, let it crank up in temp, and then we'll shut them down. And we want to do this cook around between 3 and 350 is good for the wings. We're going to kind of hold it right at a steady 325. Let's get this charcoal going. Lift our chimney. We're going to go ahead and add our accelerant. You can use anything. If you have wax cubes, tumbleweeds, all of those will work. This is going to take about 15 minutes to get. these coals lit and glowing right where we want them before we put them in the slow and sear. Go ahead and give it a light. Chimney goes right over top, instantly get the smoke. See you in 15 minutes. We'll set up the slow and sear and we'll get these wings popping. Our briquettes have been rolling in the chimney for about 12 minutes. Let's talk about this slow and sear real quick. I mentioned that I love putting water, liquid in that reservoir. We're just gonna go with water. These wings are gonna have so much flavor anyway. You could use something like apple juice, just another twist on how you can maximize flavor with this slow and sear. Today, we're just gonna go with a simple bottle of water. This is gonna, again, help regulate the temperature. It's gonna help steam, fully cook these wings the way we want. Indirect, gonna be perfect. The chimney's ready to pour. Call me corny, but this is always my favorite part. I make my wife like take videos of me at home because when you pour this, the embers flying up, it's just so cinematic. I mean, does it get better than that? Does it seriously get better than that? Personally, and this is up to you, I always love to add a little bit of hardwood smoked flavor to all of my meat. So for this chicken wings, we're gonna go ahead and add some of that almond wood here from Naughty Wood Barbecue. Again, you can just drop them, no problem. We're gonna grab the grate. With this grate on the SNS, you have a side that opens, right? So I always wanna put that side that opens over the fire. Because if by chance we check in on this cook in 45 minutes and we feel like we need to add maybe another chunk of wood, a little bit more coal, we can simply flip this up and drop some more coals in there. We're gonna put the lid on, cover it, keep the vents open, top and bottom, let it crank up some, and then once we're there, we're gonna drop it and we're gonna try to get to a nice even 325. We're gonna cook these wings pretty fast. They're not gonna take more than an hour to finish up, and then we're gonna sear them directly over the coals for that final nice crunch and crisp on that skin. Remember from our past classes, we've talked about how to put the lid on. Always make sure that the vent is gonna be on top of the side where you put your food. Because we have wood chunks, we want that smoke traveling across the top of the lid and exiting on top of the food so we get that smoke. Our SNS kettle is ready to go. We're up to temp. We're sitting at a perfect 300. Now come in here a little bit. You can see with that almond wood, we have a perfectly clear smoke. This is what you call blue smoke. We don't want to see that heavy, dark, white smoke coming out. Absolutely perfect. That's right where you want to be. Let's take this lid off, throw these wings on. We're going to take the wings, layer them, lid on, and we won't look at them for about another 40 minutes. You can lay these however you want. Some people are like OCD. They want all the flats lined up together. They want all the drums together. I don't really care. All I care about are the flats because flats are 10 times better than drums. Fight me. So much room on this indirect side, it really is great. Now keep in mind, some of these wings that are a little bit closer to the fire are obviously gonna cook maybe a little bit faster. It's not something that's really gonna make or break the cook in either way. We have our beautiful layer of chicken wings down. Our slow and sear is rocking. The water's boiling, so you know we're gonna get that steam. We're gonna let these roll for about 45 minutes. Check that internal temperature. With chicken, it has to be at least 165 degrees internal. I like to take them actually up to like 175, 180. Works out perfectly. We'll go ahead and throw the lid on, keep that temperature maintained around 300 degrees, and we'll check back in about 45. Always remember, vent side over top of your meat. We'll check back on these in about 45 minutes. See you then. Let's go. We're gonna take this lid off. We're gonna do our first temp check on these wings. I think we're gonna be ready to take these and put them right over the coals and get that skin right where we want it to be. All right, so a couple observations here. First off, I'm loving the color. Just by opening that lid and looking at the color, I'm gonna tell you, they're done. They're ready to flip over onto the hot side and get that nice crisp on the skin. I love the color. The seasoning looks beautiful. I could not ask for anything better. The flavor on these, I can see how juicy they're gonna be. I mean, you can just really see it all. We're gonna go ahead and take these now, temp them. Once we temp them, if they're where we need to be, we're gonna go ahead and start searing them real quick over the coals. Any digital temperature gauge works perfectly. I'm gonna take a look at this and just strategically, right? I'm gonna look at maybe one of these flats that looks like it's probably the biggest one. Because if I temp the biggest one, I know that the other ones are gonna be perfect. So if I'm looking at all these wings, I have a really big one right here. It's looking pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and temp that. I know that if this one temps where I want it to be, then the rest are probably gonna be perfect. We're right at about 170. Couldn't ask for anything better. We're gonna go ahead and take these and start with the sear. Take a little bit of care with this. I'm gonna do about 5 at a time. I don't want to overload this grate right over the coals and get to a point where I'm burning the wings. Take your time. It's not going to be long. You're looking at maybe 30 seconds on each side because these coals are ripping hot, so it's going to happen fast. I like to start skin side down. So just like you do with ribs or really any piece of meat, you have a fat side and a meat side. This is what I call the bone side right here. The opposite side is going to be more the meat side, the fat side. This is what you really want nice and crispy. We're going to start with the sear on that skin side here. So I'm really only going to keep these on for between 30 seconds and a minute. The skin's going to crisp up really quick. We're looking about, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds now at this point. And I can tell you if I start to turn it, you're already going to see a nice, beautiful crust forming on that skin. So once that happens, we can flip it right back over. I mean, you can see this. Just, they're so pretty. You're not burning them. It's the caramelization of all those seasonings, all that fat rendering. I mean, it's really just, it's a freaking beautiful thing. I don't want any more than this. This is about the perfect sear for me on a chicken wing. You're getting that char grilled flavor from the coals. You're getting that flavor from the wood that we have in there. I mean, just beautiful, beautiful looking wings here. And at the same time, these are temping up. So we were around 170. This is gonna get us up to that 180, 185 mark. So once we have a nice sear on both sides, we know we have our space on the grill. We're gonna go ahead and put them back over onto that indirect side. Absolute perfection. So we're gonna go ahead and move these around and then we'll be ready for our next row. Our wings are finished. They're right at about 180 degrees. Absolutely perfect for a wing. My perfect, at least. You could take them a little higher if you want to, just never under 165. I have them sitting on the indirect side. I'm gonna go ahead and pull them off, place them on the cutting board, and we'll get into them. I can tell you just by looking at them, they're gonna be juicy, they're gonna be tender. This chicken is just, the flavor is gonna be incredible. These are gonna just pull off the bone, but not fall off the bone, which is exactly how I want all my meat. Quick tip, once you're finished with your kettle, and I'm telling you, especially if you notice that you have a whole lot of coals left, we want to snuff the entire thing. So you're going to completely close the top vent. We want to eliminate any oxygen. We're going to completely close the bottom vent. That will shut that fire down. It'll snuff it. And the next time you cook, you'll actually be left with some more charcoal that didn't burn off yet. That's a wrap on this cook. The only thing that's left to do is dive into these. One little last tip. There is nothing wrong with hitting your chicken wings with a little bit extra seasoning at the end, especially when it's the jalapeno ranch. What I love about this ranch seasoning, this jalapeno ranch, is it's so fine. It's just gonna melt right on top of these wings the second you put them on. So a whole layer of seasoning on top. We're gonna go ahead and give these a little toss, get nasty with it, let all that seasoning incorporate, spread amongst all the wings, and that, my friends, is your finished product. Beautifully, perfectly smoked almond wood, Rub City Texas hat hanger, and Woodfire whiskey jalapeno ranch wings. It has taken long enough. I am ready to dive into these and really get a feel for what we just made here. Always do your meat umbrella. If you don't know, now you know. I invented this. One bite. I will take smoked wings on a charcoal kettle with a little hint of wood over any wing you could possibly offer me. That, my friends, is a wrap. Make sure you tag me, Rourke Boys Barbecue. I want to see your version. So many that you can make. Tag me at Rourke Boys Barbecue. Tag Embers TV. Can't wait for the next one. Enjoy.